Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakbadash, and I want to say Shalom to Akanakwat out there pursuing this truth diligently, coming at you once again with another lesson. And I don't have a title for this one yet, as I usually don't, but it's something about Esau being hurt, right? So, as you know, all right, here in February, we're in the so-called Jake, worldly Jake holiday of Black History Month. And with that, you're going to see a lot of worldly Jakes doing Black History Month shit, right? Talking more about Jake and, just different things like that. Of course, if you're new around here, Jake is, of course, referring to, Israel, all right, because Jacob, all right, is Jake. Jacob's name was later changed to Israel, all right, so we refer to shorten it as Jake sometimes, the slang. And Jacob at the end of the day refers to all southern and northern, right? So, and Jake specifically, we're talking about Southern Kingdom Jake right now. And you see, Southern Kingdom Jake right now going and talking about black inventions, black excellency, and all these different types of things, right? Which, aside from the term black being put on it, because black is a negative connotation, it means void of light, and our people are not void of light. Well, some of our people are, the ones out in the world are, but in its truth, where our people, so-called Negro, Latino, or Native American, are not void of light, all right? We're filled with light through the spirit and power of Yahweh Basham Shai, so that's not something we should be calling ourselves, all right? We should be calling ourselves by who we actually are, not Mexicans, but Ishkarites, right? Not Puerto Ricans, but Ephraimites, all right? Not black, all right, but Judites, okay? So on and so forth. Not Native American, but Gadite, right? And but if it wasn't for that, I mean, what they're doing is not wrong, all right? But it's the only time of the month where Jake really seems to get anything, all right? And then they forget all about this, the black excellency, all right? Or as I'm going to refer to it as the rest of the lessons. The lesson is Israelite excellency, okay? They have they don't really care about that any other month, all right? This is the month that they really focus on it. Other months they're too busy with other shit, right? But during Black History Month, they find out some shit because some people posted some shit, and they go, "Wow, this is quite confounding." And then that's it. All right, they leave it. All right, because if they really cared about the history of so-called black folk, all right, they'd do more searching, and they'd eventually, if Yahweh Basham Shai wanted that to be the case, come across the Hebrew Israelites and understand that they are a royal people through Yahweh Basham Shai. Okay, but a lot of our people ain't going to do that. Okay, so the whole black excellency thing is really just a scam. You don't care about, if you really cared about so-called black excellence, you'd want to find out who you truly are, the root of your people are, all right? And you'd find out that you go back to Israel, all right? The chosen people of the Lord, all right? The Lord's chosen people, the one who you call God, his chosen people. His true name is Yahweh in the ancient Hebrew. And his son's name, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, is Yahweh Shai. And you'd find that, and you'd know that Yahweh, all right, as you would say, God, all right, or Yahweh Shai, all right, who you would call Jesus, look like you, all right, with woolly hair, all right, melanated skin, all right, and you'd find out that some of you come from the same tribe as Yahweh Shai, okay, Judah, all right, which is the so-called Negroes, okay, you have other, Negroes kind of an encompassing term here in the States, but anybody with brown skin, they call it Negro, all right, or black or colored, all right, or other terms, which are all people Jake will get upset and say, "Oh, you can't say Negro." Well, you really shouldn't say black either. You shouldn't say colored or African American because you're none of those things. You're an Israelite, okay? You are an Israelite, and but if you really cared, all right, you'd find these things out. All right, you try to search these things out at the bare minimum. All right, if Yahweh Basham Shai, regardless if he wakes you up or not, you'd at least look in who are really the black. You'd eventually come across the Hebrew Israelites. And if the Lord wanted you, he'd have you start figuring out. If not, you'd say, I don't know what that shit is. This shit's confusing. And then you go on and go about your day, right? Back to the bugged out world that you love. So this is from Threads. And this guy here, Joe Sanders, all right, 62.7. We can go up. You can see him here, all right, with himself. He posted, and this is true. He said, hip hop is black music. Rock and roll is black music. Country music is black music. Blues is black music. R&B is black music. Pop is black music. Happy Black History Month. Now, Esau got all tore the fuck up from the floor the fuck up. All right, hurting his shirt, crying in the car. All right, it's Elderman out the Zotbot down in GMS South Carolina, down in South Carolina. And I believe his page is GMS South Carolina 08. Go and subscribe if you want some edification. Excellent brother. All right, and yeah, man. So he's always hurt about this. All right, even though it's accurate. So this guy down here called Lady Andley 2019. You can look at this fucking freak. All right, said posted this. It said, and it's a Simpsons meme, but they made Skinner into a black guy. It says, "Does every other race hate me because I'm violent, thieving, loud, and obnoxious? Nope. Surely they're just racist, right? Surely they're just racist, right?" And that's the type of Esau shit. So how are you obnoxious? Why is it obnoxious? Okay, because it's the truth. You don't like the truth. Okay, that's really what it goes back to, is that you don't like the truth. And we can go and check things that way. We can just go and fact check. All right, we can go and fact check some things. All right, let's make sure the guy's really correct on what he's saying. So I said what I put in here was what race historically created the most music genres. Okay, so we'll search it again. Okay, based on historical analysis of popular music, black people, African Americans, have created or heavily influenced the vast majority of modern music genres. From the roots of blues and spirituals, they developed jazz, rock and roll, soul, funk, R&B, hip hop, all right, house, techno, all right, that all that. Guess what? Guess where that stemmed from? Jake. All right, and they didn't mention it, but country music. Guess what? Country music, man. Because guess where country music? The white people made that down in the Appalachians. All right, to an extent, you're correct. But where did they base the country music groove off of? All right, blues. Okay, blues, and we don't. The first person that created country probably a speckled bird. All right, probably a Jake them damn self, sitting there with one tooth, right? One tooth and one arm, plucking on a banjo, sitting on my front porch. I'm looking out of the way. That's probably some Jake, right? Some Jake, right? Don't know who the hell he is, but I sure do like that blues music. I tell you what, them colored boys over there, they make some good music. I'm gonna make something like that out here in the country. What am I call it? I'll just call it country music because we're out in the country and it's music. All right. So that's just how it is. Hey, come over here for a minute, Joe Clavius. Come over here, man. You and them boys down there, you made that blues music, didn't you? Now tell me, how'd you make those licks? What are the chords you're using? There's a scale you're using in there, right? And blues scales are pretty much really, really similar to country music scales. All right, country music nowadays is different. I'll give you that. The modern day country, yeah, Esau made that shit because that shit's horrible. But if you go back in the day with outlaw country and real country, that's fine. But the boom, boom, psh, the boom, boom, psh, I'm sitting on the porch, my beer. Yeah, that shit's horrible. Yeah, you guys made that. You can have that. You guys probably made that. And to be fair, you really didn't even, because that's a mix of pop, old school country, and hip hop. So really, you're blending a lot of Jake stuff, and so you're really wrong on that. Even you're really even wrong on that. So you can see right here it says for foundation for it says originator of genres, black musicians are credited with creating nearly every major genre in American music. You goddamn fucking moon cricket porch monkey jigaboos just get on my nerves. Why are you so obnoxious? You sounds like you're just mad that Jake created everything. All right, and it doesn't just stop at music. Oh no, baby, it goes further than that. Everything. Jake made everything. Why do you fucking faggot fucking jigaboos think you made everything? Because they did. All right, our people did. All right, so you can keep on looking at it. You can go and look at it. All right, you're gonna get mad. All right, ask your story. Did black artists create most all American pop music? Really? Surely it couldn't have been these black-faced son of a bitches. It couldn't have been these motherfuckers, right? There's no way it could be these coons, these goddamn jigaboos. There's no way, right? It had to be us, white people, right? White, we did everything, right? Nope. All right. No, they haven't. Did black people really create every genre? Ask conservatives. All right. Do they really do it? You can't fathom it. Oh no. What have we done? Stole, lied, raped, robbed, killed, murdered, killed, stabbed, shot, murdered, raped, pillaged, burned, raped. That's what you guys did. That's your culture. Don't ever try to say that Esau has no culture, because Esau has plenty of culture. It's rape, robbery, murder, deceit. All right, iconoclasm. All right, draconian law. That's his culture. He's got plenty of a culture. All right. So let's go and look. So we looked up about black people. Let's not talk about those fucking people, right? Black people suck. We're so sick of hearing about those goddamn moon crickets. Fuck them. All right, let's go find out what race has stolen the most cultural identities. Based on historical and societal perspectives, the concept of stealing or appropriating a cultural identity is often associated with dominant groups taking elements from marginal groups. Who do we have here on the top? White. White exploitation. In Western contexts, literature often points to the historical and ongoing exploitation of black culture, including music, ding 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 ding, fashion, ding 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 ding, hairstyles, ding 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 ding, and dance, ding 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 ding, by white individuals. White individuals, white, 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 white. All right, which that term in itself is racist. Okay, because white means pure, but they gave us the term black. They're not white, and we're not black. If you look at their skin, they're not white. Paper's white. All right, and our people's skin, it's not really black. None of our people are black. All right, they're various shades of brown. Well, so why are they? Why are our people considered black people and their people are white people? Because white means pure, black means evil. All right, look at everything that's. Remember what Muhammad Ali said. All right, why is everything that black evil and everything that white was good? All right, why the white? He said the white food cake is angel food cake. Well, why is the black cake devil's food cake? All right, and everything dark is associated with everything black is evil and everything white is good. What did he say? He said, "Mama, we can be good too," right, or something like that. Oh no, he said, "Mama, they do bad too." That's what he said. So it's true, and it's all about that identity, man. It's all about that identity. They want to be known as pure, and you is bad. And look how they paint themselves: saving America and helping everybody and technological innovation. But you were just crime and food stamps and ghetto, and right. That's what they put, right. Meanwhile, they stole all of the things that actually happened. Then they stole your music, stole your fashion, stole your hairstyle, stole your dance. All right, you wouldn't have no Met Gala without Jake. All right, even now, there's some white people in there. Half the designers, where did they get the ideas from originally? Going back, Jake style, man. If you they're the original, for example, white women weren't allowed to wear certain clothing during slavery times. All right, so you know what they started? Did I say white women? Black women weren't allowed to wear certain clothing during slavery times. Okay, anything that was nice or anything like that, certain clothing and dresses and stuff like that, right? So what did Jake do? Well, they invented hats. All right, long, wide, frilly hats with feathers and stuff like that. And you know what happened soon after that? White women started using them. White women started using those hats. All right, you can look that up. All right, they can't. They hate Jake. All right, Jake is black people are dirty. They're nasty. They're disgusting. They live off welfare. They don't create anything. All they do is complain. They're offended by everything, and they're offended by everything. And what is it? They're offended by everything and ashamed by nothing. That's what Esau said. Offended by everything, ashamed by nothing. All right, some Jake, yeah, true, but there are some Jake. You like to put Jake in a box. Okay, we could put Esau in a box too, but you don't like it when you can say, "Oh, all Jake's on food stamps and they're liars and they're lazy." But when you say, "Oh, all white people, fuck animals and fuck their daughters," all right, at 5 years old because they're the ones that are doing it and they embezzle and they rob, all right, and they lie, you wouldn't like that very much, would you? You wouldn't really like that. It says, by white individuals described as colonialism at the scale of the dancing body. This is frequently linked to economic exploitation and whitewashing of cultural practices. erasure and colonialism. Historically, white European Edomites, that's their true biblical identity. And that's why they did all these things and covered up all these things, because they don't want you to know you're an Israelite, and they don't want you to know that they're an Edomite. Okay? So it says, historically, white European Edomites domination has been cited because not every white person is an Edomite. All right, you're going to have some speckled birds. You're going to have some Israelites that look like the other nations. All right, because our people have been scattered. All right, I myself happen to look like a white individual. All right, or maybe mixed with something else, but I have the lighter pale leprous skin. Okay, and it's the same way you're going to have some people that look like Jake, all right, melanated individuals that look like black people, but they ain't really who you think they is, right? Who they think they are, who they think they are, because you got to remember the plantation rapes, man. All right, they are getting down, and we know you go back by your father, to the seed line of your father. Okay, and we even have Esau. There was some guy. I saw it on a video. He said, "Why are you going to say that mixed people are not just as important as black people?" So you're telling me in my lineage came from a woman. All right, my great grandmother was raped. All right, my great grandfather or something was the product of my grandmother being raped by the slave master, and we came through that. If anything, we've suffered more than the average black person because we were born of a lineage of rape. All right, no, you're just an Edomite and you're playing the victim again. All right, you're just an Edomite. If that slave master was your daddy, you're that daddy's child. You're that same white man. Okay, and more than likely, your fucking coon looking ass, all right, is really a cracker, all right, and you're probably that motherfucker that raped your grandmama coming back, all right, through the regeneration, all right, through reincarnation, okay, and that's why you're so upset about it, okay. Not really, we suffered worse, if anything. Sure. When were you put in a hot box? When were you put in that? When were you buck broke? All right, when did you have your flesh ate? All right, when? You weren't. It says, contextual perspective. While black culture is frequently cited as a major influence that is imitated, it is important to note that many minority groups in the U.S. deal with issues of cultural appropriation. It's not just black people. No, there's other people. It's not all about the blacks. They had to throw that in there, right? Had to throw that in there. So what else do we got? Let's see. What else do we have? Let's see. This is from Medium. It says, while black Americans are more than stolen people on stolen land. Okay. Look at this. What race is the most influential? I don't know if they're going to let us get away with that one. Oh, damn. Okay. African American culture is the most, and that's the African American. We're not Hamites. Our people are not Hamites. Okay, and you're gonna say, well, if you're white looking, why do you say we? Because I go back through Benjamin, I believe. All right, Benjamin or Judah, somewhere in Southern Kingdom. All right, but just because I don't look like it. All right, but African American culture is most recognized and influential voice in the world. So you gotta stop calling yourself African American, because Africans are Hamites. All right, that's a completely different name. That's a heathen nation. They're not the Israelites. All right, you're not African. All right, you're an Israelite. You're not Israeli either. You're an Israelite. An Israelite. The people over there call themselves Israelis. They don't call themselves Israelites. You are an Israelite, a biblical Israelite, Jake. Okay, because African American culture, let me just rephrase that. All right, Israelite culture is the most recognized and influential force in the world. That's why the world watches, imitates, and celebrates. I wouldn't say celebrates Israelites, their creativity, their rhythm, their perspective, and their power. Um, let's see. Is black a culture identity? Yes and no. All right, I'll answer that for you. Yes and no. There's no land of black. All right, there is a land of Israel though, and that's why you got to call yourself the right thing. Right thing. All right, because they don't go to the land of white. You're not from the land of black. Okay, you know they used to go by Caucasian, but they stopped that. They stopped going by Caucasian. The reason they stopped going, it's like, let me adjust my finger on this mic. Okay, the reason they stopped going by Caucasian is because it linked them back to the Caucasus Mountains. And once you're linked to the Caucasus Mountains, Esau can be linked to the Caucasus Mountains, and they don't want to be associated. All right, it was too close to home, literally, because that's where they were dwelling. So they don't want that. But that's where they came from. That's where they came from. So let's go ahead and get and that's pretty much all we had there. But yeah, they're mad. They're hurt through their shirt. So right here, all right, and you're just mad that Jake. Oops, I accidentally closed out. Bear with me. One thing I also wanted to do was grab this because y'all didn't make shit. So like my nose is itchy like hell. So if you hear the mic moving everywhere, it's because my nose is just bothering me, man. It's like it. We got this. Y'all are just mad, man. We didn't make anything. Really? Hell, I'd be mad too. All right. Matter of fact, my wife said something earlier. I can't remember because I was talking to her about, like I said, she's in the truth. She was in the truth before me. Um, so I can't. When I met her, she was already kind of slightly getting into it, I guess, or shortly after, before we were even dating. And like I said, when the first time I heard her, I thought it was all a cult. I said that's a cult. I don't like. And of course, I repented for that. I've grown and I've learned. I said, you know what? Certain things she said, oh, they said this. I'm like, okay, well, hold up now. That sounds like something I agree with. And then she tried to and because I looked how I looked, she tried to send me videos. I guess trying to see if I was a Jake or not. And when I started watching at first, I was like, I don't know, because at first, it's some stuff by Adam Abbott, and I didn't like Adam Abbott. I don't like his shit. I said, I don't know about this shit. But then she started sending me videos by this guy called GMS, GMS Spiritual Warfare. All right, GMS Spiritual Warfare, and I started watching them, and it was through watching that brother's videos, through Yahweh Shemi Shai, that I started to get a grasp of the truth. I said, okay, wait, this is starting to make a lot of sense. And then I heard the name Yahweh Shemi Shai, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and it was the name Yahweh Shai. All right, specifically, not that the father's name isn't good, but it was the name Yahweh Shai that it clicked. That's the specific part that clicked. When I heard Yahweh Shai, I said, that's the name. It just meant, and I've heard that with a lot of brothers. All right, that's one of the things when you hear the name, you're like, you hear the names, whether it's the father or the son, you go, yeah, that's it. There's power in that name. It's something in you. It's like a familiar name you've heard before because you have in your past, man. All right, and so little backstory there. But I was talking to her, because she's in the truth. It's good to have a woman that's in the truth too, and especially one that was in the truth before you, because that means you know that she's not doing it just because you. All right, she was already in it. So I like rattling. We talk about spiritual things, and it's a blessing through Yahweh Shemi Shai. Call out Yahweh Shemi Shai for that, and I was talked about this because I woke up, I was on Threads, and I told her about it. I said, look, Esau is so fucking mad. Look at how mad Esau is about. And she said, I can't remember how she said it. She said, what is it with Esau, with like always getting mad that Jake does everything? I'm not gonna be mad. And I told her, I said, I do understand it. Think about, and I had to explain it to her. I said, think about it. I agree with Esau if I was an Edomite, because you got to think. Let me go here and get this photo, and I'll just leave it up. There's something to look at. If you were an Edomite and you didn't create any music, any genre of music, okay, and you didn't hardly create any inventions, and you didn't hardly create any of the cars, because all the cars, I mean, you had the first one, Henry Ford, right? But that was like damn near one step above a buggy, all right. And that's the thing. Esau sometimes will innovate something, but they'll not get it to its full potential, and they'll still try to do it. Like, for example, the light bulb was thought about by, right, Thomas Edison, right? Edison. But it was not put into practicality, all right, but by a black, was it a black man or a black woman? I can't remember. Actually, let me go and see. Let me go and ask. We'll go and ask it. Let's see. It says, yeah, Edison wasn't the first person ever to make the incandescent light bulb work. The story is way more of a group project than the stat Edison invented light bulb myth that you probably heard in school. Here's how it went down. People were messing with electric light long before Edison. Long before Edison's patent in the late 1870s, scientists and inventors across Europe and US were experimenting and making electric lights from filaments inside glass bulbs. A few notable early figures include people like Humphrey Davy in the early 1800s and others working on versions of incandescent lamps. Is this the guy? Was this the black guy? Let me go and see. Nope, that was a British chemist. Okay. There was another guy. A lot of people were working on it. Okay. A lot of people were working on it. But Jake is the one that actually got it working. Um, Now it says Joseph Swan actually had a working incandescent bulb first. An English physicist named Joseph Wilson Swan built a working incandescent lamp with a filament in a tube. And of course, chat lies a lot. All right, they don't want it. Again, Esau doesn't want it to go out that everything was made by black folk, or else they'd look like they can't do shit, which they can't. It says with a filament in a vacuum bulb, and it was demonstrated in the late 1870s. Before Edison got this version going, Swan became even got a UK patent and began selling bulbs. Um, right here. This is what it was. This is what it was. This is actually how it was. Okay. All right. This is what it was. So now that I read it, it's correct. So I was incorrect. Jake didn't make the light bulb. They made it practical. Okay. They made the light bulb. They did make it into the light bulb that we know today. Okay. And so you're right. You had Humphrey Davy, Joseph Swan, all white guys that were working on getting this incandescent light. And it wasn't Edison that got it working. It was Joseph Swan. Right. Now, he made the bulb. It could make light. It worked. All right. That was, and we don't even know that guy. That guy could have been. We don't. Joseph Swan. We don't. He says English. We don't know if he was actually goes back to Irish or what. All right. So he could have still been a Jake. But let's just say that he was a white guy. He was an Edomite. Right. So that's fine. All right. So they put that together. Okay. They got the groundwork of it done. But Lewis Latimer, a black inventor, didn't invent the light bulb, but he made an important improvement. The claim you might have heard for instance, in political speeches, that a black man invented the light bulb isn't accurate in a literal sense, but it's based on a real guy, Lewis Howard Latimer, who's a black inventor and an engineer who worked on Edison's team and patented a better carbon filament and a method for making those filaments that the bulbs more durable and easier to manufacture. That contribution was key in making electric lighting much more practical and affordable. So, it says so. Without that, the bulbs would have, like it says, he didn't invent the first light bulb, but he did make the technology significantly better. Right? It says before Latimer, early light bulbs, earliest workable incandescent bulbs, like Thomas Edison's early versions, used carbon filaments but the technology still sucked in important ways. Those filaments didn't last very long, and they were expensive to make they were expensive to make reliably. Edison experimented with things like carbon coated bamboo and cotton threads, but it wasn't finished product yet. Other inventors like Joseph Swan in England had bulbs with carbon filaments before Latimer's work, but they were limited by practical manufacturing issues and durability. Could you imagine how a light bulb that you had to change like every fucking day, right? That'd be horrible, wouldn't it? Well, Jake came along. Latimer, Jake, improved the carbon filament production process. In 1882, Latimer got a patent for the process of manufacturing carbons, which was a better way to make the carbon filament itself, so it was stronger, broke less during production, and lasted longer when the bulb was in use. This made bulbs cheaper to manufacture and more reliable. The trick he used was simple but clever. He wrapped the filament blanks in cardboard during carbonization so they wouldn't break as easy when being heated and processed. Latimer also worked on how the filament was connected to the wires inside the bulb, improving its durability and lowering the production costs. Okay, filaments were stronger, lasted longer, they were easier and cheaper to produce at a scale. So without him, we wouldn't have it. You're right. You're right. If with the white man, with the thanks of the white man, we could have had a light bulb that lasted one day, right? We didn't need Jake. right? We could have just changed our light bulbs every day, right? We didn't need anything that was more durable. We could have bought a pack of 20 light bulbs, and 18 of them could have broke on the way, right? We didn't need Jake, right? We could have just done just fine with the two bulbs that lasted, and even though we bought an 18 pack, two of them survived, and we get 2 days out of that before having to go and do the whole thing again. You ain't got it. You ain't got it. Jake's got it. This is Matthew, all right, 5 and 13. It says, "Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt," because we've gone off, right? It says, "But if the salt have lost his Savior, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men." All right, so let's go and get this in the blue, not the blue letter, but the good news. It says, "You are like salt for the whole human race." What do you use salt for? All right, salt is the flavoring. All right, you can't have a dish without salt. All right, you don't use salt, you're gonna be laughed at. All right, unsalted ass food. All right, no flavor. All right, rubbing mayo on it instead. Technically, mayo's I think's got a little bit of salt, but it says you are like salt for the whole human race. But if salt loses its saltiness, there's no way to make it salty again. It has become worthless, so it is thrown out, and people trample on it. And the reason it's talking about that is because we got our salt through Yahweh Shem Shai. If we don't have Yahweh Shem Shai, if we've lost our saltiness. Okay, we've got to have the Lord. All right, the Lord's the one that gave us those abilities and to be the nation that we are through Yahweh Shem Shai, through Him. Right? If we don't have that, then we've lost our saltiness, man. And it's good for nothing. All right, a saltiness that's not salty. Well, what's the point? Right? So Esau is just so mad about everything, especially that that our people have created everything. I mean, you can go here, the black inventors and their inventions, and you can go on everything here, right? Paper, chess, alphabet, medicine, civilization, airplane propelling, biscuit cutter, folding bed, coin changer, rotary engine, car coupler, letterbox, stainless steel pads, torpedo discharger, disposable syringe, home security system, corn planter. Home security system. The black people invented the things that you put in your house because you're afraid of black people. Corn planter, cotton planter, ironing board, street sweepers, horse bridle bit, horseshoe, lawnmower, typewriter, train alarm, image converter, for radiation detector, peanut butter, paints and stains, lotions and soaps, automatic fishing reel, ice cream mold, printing press, envelope seal, laser fuse, pressure cooker, window cleaner, pencil sharpener, fire extinguisher, lock, shoe lasting machine, lubricators, rocket catapult, elevator, gas mask, traffic signal, hairbrush, heating furnace. And they say they didn't invent the traffic signal. That was a white guy out in England. Go and look into that more. Go and look into that more. All right, his was more of a prototype. Again, if Jake didn't come up with the idea, they took the idea and made it practical. Right? They didn't necessarily come up with the idea of the light bulb. I stated that incorrectly. All right, but once I got the information, that's what I remember is that they made it practical. If Jake didn't invent it, they made it practical. All right, sure, you might have been. I have this thing where it's like you cut grass with it, right? And what you do is you keep on pulling this cord over and over and over again, and it cuts grass every time you do it. Hey man, couldn't you just put a motor in it? A what? A motor, right? And call it like a lawnmower because it will mow. All right, the lawn. It'll get all that up instead of having to do it each hand. I mean, you might as well just use the scythe. An engine, you say? A motor? Huh. That might just be good. That might just be good there, Jamal. All right? Take the day off. All right? No, take half the day. No, take an hour off. Go, Margaret, get this man some lemonade. All right? I'm going to use that. A lawnmower. Wow, I came up with the idea of the lawnmower. Right? That's the other thing. The other things that are Esau inventions, so to speak, anything that was created during slavery, they had the rights of. Okay? So it was published as their invention. Right? Anyway, fire extinguisher, lock, so on. So hairbrush, man, sugar refinement, clothes dryer, cellular foam, pressing comb, curtain rod. Another one that's not even necessarily on here, because I think this came out before it happened. This is an old paper, but the video game system, man, really to the day, the cartridge based video game systems, right? That was Jake. I can't remember his name. And then one of the main guys that worked at IBM that did a lot of innovation, he was a Jake. All right, IBM, big internet, like anybody that was a techie, all right, back in the day, or anybody that's even still a techie or into computers today would know about IBM. All right, the Tandy, the PC Junior, The Model M keyboard is what the keyboard that everything came from that we know now. The QWERTY keyboard was really formulated around the Model M, because before there was like 20 function keys. We're known now. We have the 12 function keys. All right, the arrow keys, the numpad. That's all stuff that the Model M keyboard, all right, made standard in the market, right? And you'd see it on the old video games back in the day. It would say for IBM compatibles, all right, because you had the Radio Shack, PC Junior, I believe. Was that no? The Tandy. I think the Tandy was one of the I think that was Radio Shack's version. Anyway, we're going off on a topic that really doesn't matter for the lesson. All right, but Jake, if they didn't directly made it, they innovated it and expanded upon it and made it more practical, right? So, what else? This person, HuntFink22, that looks like this, mind you, right? This is the master race right here. Look at your supreme overlord, Jake. This person's better than you. Nope, not your beautiful afro and your beautiful melanated skin and you not getting skin cancer, and you can go out in the sun and your skin will glisten and you'll be fine. And nope, this is the master race, right? This is them, right? You had it all wrong. Fucking looking like a thumb. All right. It says literally all those were created by white people except for hip hop and R&B. Happy White History Month. This person said, locked by Nelly, said, girl, shut the fuck up. Humpty Dumpty fell off a wall looking ass. Said, so you obviously, this person said, you obviously don't know your history. Rock and roll was created by Sister Rosetta Tharpe, a black woman. Punk rock was also originated by black people before there was a famous punk rock band. Yeah, punk rock style, all right, created by black folk, all right. What do you think about the big hair? The big, large hair that, buzzed on the side. Who do you think got their hair like that originally, is able to get their hair all big? Jake. Esau, they have to put all the shit in their hair to do it. All right, all types of shit. And then Dom and Domer, I guess that's a reference of Dumb and Dumber, says, just here to watch people get mad at the truth. And this guy, all right, John Nellis, bullshit! Stop misappropriating everything from other people. All right, so there you go. It says it's people like you that give Black History Month a bad name, then wonder why there's racist groups. And this is Jake saying that. Why? You wonder why there's, listen here, motherfucker. All right, every time we keep on saying that we invented stuff, and we did invent it, and the music that we made, and we did make that music, and the dances that we did, and we did make those dances, and the hairstyles that we had, and we did use those hairstyles. We talk about it. That makes white people mad, and that makes them say, we should go out and kill these black motherfuckers. You're the reason that they're racist. Look, I'm sorry if us inventing stuff makes you hate us so much you want to come and kill us. All right? That's not our fault. Okay? That's not our fault. You want to kill us, why? Because we invented everything, made everything? Fuck you. Fucking piece of shit. All right? Kill us all off then and sit in your fucking dust throne, all right, of nothingness, because you won't have nothing. You won't be able to have nothing. No music. Everybody listens to rap music. No more rap music for you. All right? No more soul food. No more biscuits and gravy. No more pancake. Nothing. All right? No more fried chicken. None of it. None of it. No more wings. Right? No more cornbread. That's not necessarily black folk, but that's other Jake inventions. Right? No more tortillas. No more tacos. No more burritos. No more enchiladas. All right? You sit there. You sit there. Right? And you eat your lasagna. Okay? And you eat that. Right? You eat your sauceless food, all right, or all your sauce. No, all only sauce that white people know is red sauce. All right, red sauce, green sauce, white sauce. All right, that's all you know. That's Italians right there. All right, Italian food's fucking horrible. I hate it. You've never had good Italian food. I'm sick of people saying I have. I've had very expensive Italian food before, and it tasted like shit. I hated it. Did not like it. Did not like it. It's not good food. It's not a good food. Sorry, not a good food. All right, don't like it. It's not good. It's all fucking white people food that's been covered up with sauce. And the original Italians, the Sicilians, yes, they were Jake. All right, and I bet if you went to a Sicilian restaurant, that shit probably tastes better. I've never been to a Sicilian restaurant that's Sicilian Italian. I bet their food's fucking good as hell. But I've only been to a regular Italian place, and that fucking shit sucks, man. It fucking sucks. It's white people food, sauceless, unseasoned ass food. Let me not say unseasoned. It's got basil, parsley, oregano. All right, maybe a little bit of onion powder, maybe a little bit of garlic. That's it. Throw a sauce on it. Fucking disgusting. Anyway, I'll stop, rage baiting people now. I'm not really baiting them. I'm just saying the truth. It says music belongs to everyone, and just what someone with a cat asshole profile picture would say. Just what someone with a cat asshole picture would say. Look, victim. All these. There it is. We invented everything. We was kings and shit. Reparations, white people, right? Oh, the smoke alarm going off. Ha 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 ha. That's so funny. The smoke alarm's going off, guys. Beep, ha, 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 funny. Ha, ha. Well, look at them. They're the worst people ever. Their fire alarms go off. Ha, ha. I'm gonna go and fuck my 3-year-old daughter now. Ha, ha. Fucking sick. All right, sick. All right, you guys are fucked up in the head, man. I'd rather be known as annoying. I'd rather be known as abrasive, as playing the victim than the guy that fucks his 3-year-old daughter. Because that's what you do. White people fuck their daughters, right? That's what they do. White people fuck their kids. They fuck the family dog. All right, Rover, move over. Better run quick. All right, because here comes Jimbo with his small ass dick. All right, you better fucking run. All right, row? Yeah, you better run. I'd hate to be an Edomite. I'd hate to be an Edomite too. I'd hate to be a dog in an Edomite household. Job said I would suffer. I wouldn't suffer the flocks of my dog. All right, to be with these people. Roughly paraphrasing. All right, because he knew they'd probably fuck his dog. They don't want that, man. Then you have to put the dog to death. No. Here's you. This is what you do, right? This is you, Esau. Here's a scripture about you. All right, Micah 2:2, and they covet fields and take them by violence. You don't even have your own land. Your land was shit. I was actually watching. I don't know if it was the last one of the last few Apostles live streams. All right, or it might have been going live on a Tuesday afternoon. One of them, and they were talking about that's how you know that Esau is really hated by the Lord. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. You can look that up. That's not a lie. That's in there. He hate. God doesn't hate. Yes, he does, and he hates you specifically. All right. They were saying that you could tell that the Lord hated Esau because their lands look like shit. All right, if you look at like Petra, you look at these places in Idumea, it's just fucking rock and mountain. All right, it's not plentiful. There's no trees and bushes. It's just shit, right? It's just shit. And because of that, and you can also tell the Lord hates Esau because look, they burn in the sun, they get skin cancer, their eyes are prone to damage. It's everything, man. You're chosen fucking people, right? Woohoo, yeah, it's Esau, right? With all these fucking different conditions they get, all right. Micah 2:2, and they covet fields and take them by violence. What? Because their land sucks. They don't want their land. They need to have some other land because their land sucks. It says, in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage. Okay? So, that's what they do. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall you go haughtily, for this time is evil. We go and get this in the good news. It says, when they want fields, they seize them. When they want houses, they take them. No one's family or property is safe. All right, basic English version. They have a desire for fields and take them by force, and for houses and take them away. They are cruel to a man and his family, even to a man and his heritage. All right, and part of our heritage is also, having the salty earth. So they took that away. We invented everything. We're God's gift to the earth. No, you're not. No, you're not. All right, you ain't shit. All right, you're the Lord's curse upon this earth, man. You're the whooping stick. That's all you are. You're the switch. That's all you are, man. You're the paddle. You're the belt. That's all you are. You're just the belt, man. You are the belt. So let's get we got that. Let's get Deuteronomy 14:2. It says, for thou art that here's all about Jake. It's all about us. All right. It says, for thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all nations that are upon the earth. Above all nations. We are above all nations. That's not a proud statement. That's a factual statement. We are better than any other nation. We are above them all. You are below us. We are above you. You are below us. We are above you. That's pride. It's not pride. Pride is having a non-justified all right, excessively high opinion of oneself. This is justified. The Lord said that we're above all nations. That's not a proud statement. That's a fact. That's a fact. It's not proud to say, it's a fact. Okay? Good news version. You belong to the Lord, your power. He has chosen you to be his own people from among all people who live on the earth. I don't like how they, in the good news, they didn't let you know that you're above all people. Okay? This one either. That's why the King James Version has got it. Above all people, above all the nations, above all the nations. We are above all the nations. Boom, bam. Don't like it. Sorry. Too bad. So sad. Wah. Wow. As fucking Lucy would say from I Love Lucy. All right. So here's another one about the music. All right. David. All right. King David. All right. The king that was set up above us. All right. 2 Samuel 6 and 5. You know, we come from a line of naturally gifted musicians, and David was known as basically the best musician of Israel. Okay, it says, and not basically, he was. It says, and David and all the house of Israel, showing you that all the house of Israel, that Israel was talented as well, played before the Lord on all manner of instruments made of fir wood, even on harps and on psalteries and on timbrels and on cornets and on cymbals. Okay, there you go. There you go. So why? Because musically gifted. Musically gifted. And you're not. It's okay. All right? It's okay. You know? I'll make you a deal, Esau. When I'm in the kingdom, all right, and I'm playing music, I'll let you play the woodblock. I'll let you play the triangle. I'll let you play the I'll let you play the rain stick. You know that thing you turn over. Shh. I'll let you play that. All right. You can play those. Fuck. Probably fuck that up. Beating the fucking brick out of tune. Anyway, I'm just playing around. I ain't gonna let you play shit. Or you gonna be fucking up my band. It says, Saki, a bunch of people in the neighborhood just making a bunch of noise. I'm sitting in the car right now. I just hear a bunch of people making noise in the neighborhood. A lot of weird ass fucking people out. A lot of weird people out these days. People are fucking weird. Anyway, Proverbs 14:30, it says, a sound heart is the life of the flesh, but envy the rottenness of the bones. And you have an envy issue, Esau. You envy us so much. It says, a quiet mind is the life of the body, but envy is a disease in the bones. And it's really disease, you know. We're good at things too. No, no, no. Okay, name a couple things. All right, that's not like raping, robbing, murdering. All right, what are you good at? What are you good at? Oh, wait. What? Soccer? No, that's Issachar. Football? No, that's Jake. Basketball? Jake again. Baseball? You're all right at it. But who goes down in history? Jackie Robinson. All right. Jackie Robinson. Still talked about to this day. You don't hear any of the other people talked about in school. No, Jackie Robinson. Right? So, and other black players. All right. They tried to keep Jake out the sports for the longest time because once they got in the sports, they dominated. All right. But hockey? There's even black people in hockey, man. Well, hockey is primarily a white sport. All right. But there's even black people in it. All right. So what else do we got? All right, roller skating. That's Jake. Okay, music. We already talked about. That's Jake. What do you have? I can't think of one white excellency trait that you would sell really in anything. I'm trying to think. Sewing, but slaves sewing, knitting, sewing, same thing, pretty much. I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's the same genre of practice of hobby. Um, art. Most of your famous musicians are Italians, which are probably Jake. I'm really trying. I really am thinking right now. I'm trying to think. Um, cars are mostly Asian people, right? If you look into drifting, that's more than likely because, Jake was over there somehow, right? So through the scatter, probably a lot of Ishkarites. My wife said that one time actually, and I was like, you know what? She said that's probably why. Because the drifting started with the Japanese people, all right, allegedly, but they're probably speckled birds because out of all the other people right now, Japanese people still drift, but the only other people that really do a whole lot of drifting is Issachar. So they could have brought that over there for all we know. All right, we know that Jake does everything, creates everything. All right. I mean, I'm really trying to think here. Um, Maybe like making porcelain dolls or something. I don't know. I don't really know. I can't really tell you anything that white people really excel at other than like rape, robbery, murder, scams, lying, thievery. Right. Um, I really can't think, man. I give up. I give up. I would have lost Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because I wouldn't have been able to answer that question. Right. Finally, James 3:16. Now we're gonna close out. It says, "For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work." And again, that's one of the. There's so many reasons you hate us. It's primarily because of the blessing, but another reason that you also hate us is because that envy and it makes you do evil works. Right? So you steal, you lie, you cover it up, and you say, "No, it was us. No, it was us. No, it was us," because you want to be us, man. You want to be us. Let's see if I can get this in the and look up envy. Feeling uneasiness at the superior condition or and happiness of another, right? Mortification experienced at the supposed prosperity and happiness of another. There you go. I like the first one though. Feeling uneasiness at the superior condition and happiness of another, because we're in a superior condition. All right, through Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We're in a lower condition because of the curses, but they're starting as we get closer and closer to the end and further in Jacob's trouble. Those curses are going to get more and more off of us and more onto you, Jake, or more and more onto you, Esau, Satan. So yeah, man, it's you know we're in a superior state of creativity, okay, and you're not. So yeah, man. Where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work. That's all we gotta get, man. That's all. That's it. All right. Sorry that you haven't created anything. I mean, you know, work harder. All right. Stop blaming it on your race. Right. It's not all about your race, Esau. Right. It's just because you're lazy. Okay. Maybe if you weren't on food stamps so much. All right. And you weren't so worried about what black people are doing. All right. Maybe you could be like black people one day, Esau. Right. See how that sounds? Right. You don't like it the other way around, huh? Maybe you can invent something. Maybe one day, maybe you'll just, maybe you'll be a quarter or a fraction of a quarter as great as a black person will. Maybe one day, right? If you try really, really hard, right? Maybe you too can make something, all right? And without the help of the black man, right? You just got to try really hard, and maybe you'll do it, all right? But probably not. Probably not, right? After all, you're only white. Oh, I know I'm pissing some people off. But that's where we're going to close out. All right. Lord, what was edifying? Esau is just mad because it's true. They're just mad at the truth. They hate the truth. ChatGPT said it. Google said it. The report said it. The Bible says it. But Esau says it's not true. I wonder which one's correct. All the other information or Esau? I'll leave that up to you to decide. With that, we're going to close out. Lord, what was edifying? Again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem Rakakwadash. Shalom, you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring. Keep the faith. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing. Shalom.